And live. Hi guys. Thank you so much for being here, Bree. Welcome everybody as you join to a Shelf Help Club live with our Book of the Moment author, which is very exciting. And Bree is, as well as being an author, she's an expert in having fun at work and also in life. I'm thinking from reading the book. Bree is a company culture and employee experience consultant, and her book, Today Was Fun, a book about work. Seriously, I always have to say it like that, Bree. Like seriously, at the end. This is our book of the moment for September and October. I think we should really harness those kind of back to school, back to work vibes, and getting intentional about where we spend our time. So your philosophy, one of your philosophies is that we spend a third of our time at work. Our life should be fun. Ergo, work should be fun. And I feel like that is very simple, straightforward, simple, but not always easy, is it? That's the problem. So thank you for being here to talk us about how to have fun at work and through the book and your 7 rules.
Yay! Thank you for having me. This will be fun too.
Yes, it will be fun. Like you said, very human, just before we went live, very human and very real. And guys, we're looking forward to having any questions from you. If you're members, you can share questions in the chat and also let us know who you are and where you're checking in from, because I imagine we'll have people from the UK and Europe, but also the US and maybe other places. So let us know. It'd be great to know where you are. And yes, please share any questions as we go. And Bree, I thought we should do a little shout out for Emma Gannon at the beginning for inadvertently introducing us, because I found the book and I found you through the feature you did for her as a guest post, which was your most days theory. So should we talk about that to start?
Sure. Yeah, it's a huge shout out to Emma Gannon. Was so lovely. I felt like, you have those sort of like celebrities in your orbit, and when she had offered the guest post spot, I was like, oh my god. Yes, please. And specifically, she had asked for the most days theory, which she had seen me and share in the write up for the book, which is just simply that we don't have to be perfect. Don't have to get it all right every day, as much as culture, my upbringing tells me I need to get it all right. It's just, I tell myself at the end of the day, did I do most things today? Great. Did I not pack the perfect lunch for my daughter? Did I not return 5 emails? Yeah, I did most things, and I'll do the rest tomorrow. And that's plenty, that we get to decide what enough is in our lives.
Yeah, enough. That's an excellent word. And so the most days theory is that's your first rule, I suppose, of the 7 rules that we talk about in the book. And we'll be diving into a few of those later. But I also love how you share lots of exercises and strategies. So it's really practical, this book. It's a great idea. Yeah, we all want to have fun at work, but how do we do it? And I think that's the feedback I've got from my community so far as we kind of start to kind of dig into it. It's a bit like, are you sure we should have fun at work? Can we really have fun at work? So I thought to start with, should we do one of the exercises you talk about is doing a check-in with your team?
Yeah.
And I feel like normally everybody's face is on screen, I'm imagining, but I thought maybe we could do it tonight with some of our members.
Sure. Yes. So a check-in is, I call it the highest impact to effort ratio tool of any I've shared across my entire career. It's so good 'cause it's simply asking, how are you? And then taking the time to listen in a work setting, which is so rare, right? Normally we're like, how are you? Good. How are you? And then time moves on. So it goes like this. One person will start. I'll host this for now. I'll say, how are you doing on a scale of 0 to 5? How are you? Now, this can be, if you do this at work, this could be regards to work or life. You could say, oh, I'm a 2. I'm really worried about the meeting coming up later. I don't know that we're ready. Or I'm a 5. It's my birthday this weekend. Or I'm a 3 because, 5 because we got a new puppy, but 3 because the puppy's keeping me up all night. You just sort of share what's going on. And what's so beautiful about it really humanizes a room. At work, it increases psychological safety. It can thwart any misunderstandings. If you're like, oh, I'm a 1, I threw my back out, so I'm camera off. And now we all know to feel bad for that person, instead of, being like, oh, they're camera off, they're not paying attention. So anyway, I can go on about the research, the cognitive offloading, but let's do it together. So the question is for everyone here. Hi, Marin, I see you joined. How are you doing on a scale of 0 to 5? Go ahead and put it in the chat on the count of 3. If we were live, you'd put it on your hands. 3, 2, one, shoot. Yes. Okay. So come 5, I'm a 4. And then go ahead and write in the chat, a sentence or two why. So
Yeah,
I am a 4. Um, I'm really more of a 5 because I'm having this conversation now. I've been excited for it and to chat with Tony and to be part of this group. -1 because this is my first day back after 3 weeks of vacation, and so my
sure.
inbox is like a little.
Yeah,
It's like it's making me twitch and giving me anxiety.
yeah.
But what's you're a 5?
I'm 5, it's just 'cause I'm really happy to be back at work actually, kind of like back in the, just back to have a bit of routine. Like, I love Mondays. I love my work is this, so my work is very fun. Like, I couldn't imagine a better job really. So Mondays, generally, I'm a 5, which I never used to think I would say. I would never have thought I would say. And I'll share with you, and probably as we go through, about kind of some of the points that I relate to so strongly in the book about kind of living for Friday, Sunday scaries, all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to pick up on a point that somebody made in the chat, Gabrielle. And Gabrielle's an amazing coach. And she says, I wonder how many people would actually say they were a 5 if they were. And I think that's a very British thing. Like, I don't know if the Americans on here would be quite so kind of like backwards and coming forward. But yeah, I think sometimes for us to say, I'm doing great, I'm great, I feel great, is like actually quite difficult.
Yeah, I get that. Culturally, it'll be a little bit different. And having spent a little bit of time in the UK, I know it's like much more socially acceptable to have like a little bit of a sneer about the day. But then also try it on for size. Like, what does it look like? Say you're a 5, and to feel that way. It's one of the great things about it is it starts to raise these questions about what is socially acceptable to feel, and especially to feel in the workplace. Is it a good thing if I say I'm tired at work because I'm working so hard, or is it a bad thing? Is now people
Yeah.
think I perform well. If I'm too chipper, am I like performatively positive, or if I'm a 1, am I a downer in the group? And it's just so funny how wrapped up we can get in what
Mm,
an appropriate way to show up. And I would always argue that the more we can show up just exactly as we are, if you're having a 0 kind of day, have a 0 day, the more we feel like ourselves, and when we feel like ourselves, we have a chance of enjoying ourselves.
sure. And that, I think, is just the thread, isn't it, Brie, that kind of runs through the book, which is about being more human, like showing you're human and also accepting and enjoying other people's. Because a big part of it is like, well, a lot of it is relationships, I think. It's about the people you work with, isn't it? And the people who are not at work with you, who you want to have some left over for them. So I think, as you say, like saying, I'm a 2 because this has happened at home, is like, we spend so much time with these people at work. So it's actually, it bonds you, and I think it will make it more fun if you're able to kind of interact at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it gives empathy to each other. Just to
Yeah,
someone as a human, we're more likely if they make a mistake or frustrate us, we're more likely to lean in and wonder, "Oh, why did that happen? How can I help? How can we fix it?"
yeah,
As opposed to if I don't know that if I think of them as a work bot, I'm like, "Oh, what an idiot." you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, really helps.
yeah. Great. And so, so you said you were a 4 because there was a 5 and then a -1 because back to work. I understand that. And let talk to me then about how you become an expert at having fun at work.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to declare, I guess. Uh, so my master's degree is in learning and organizational change. So first, I really got good at and studied how do humans experience the workplace and especially change in the workplace. My professional experience, I've had a few different career chapters. I was actually a teacher for the first almost 10 years of my career, and then a consultant. My consulting work has been largely focused on culture, new ways of working, employee experience for companies. A lot of sort of like startup-ish companies, the like Etsy and Dropboxes of the world, but also a lot of
Yeah.
huge organizations, Target, Microsoft, Google, Pfizer, so many. And so what's been great is the reason I love consulting is I get to sort of peek into the little cultures, into little slivers of those cultures when I work with those teams. And in doing so, we always start off with interviews and some sort of discovery process. I've gone to interview hundreds of employees across dozens of industries to hear what's your day like at work? What are you trying to get better at? What's in your way? What
Mhm.
makes not a good day? What do you need? So throughout all of that, it's given me some good pattern recognition about what it takes to have a good day.
Yeah, sure. And I love how you talk about cozy teams and about how one of your missions when you're kind of creating a team, running a team, being part of a team is like you want to create that kind of cozy team for lots of reasons because it's fun, but also from a point of view of from a business point of view, because throughout the book you do every so often kind of pop in as Bree's more business minded side and say there is a business reason for this as well. We're not just here to kind of like just like what do you sometimes say to just like stare at the people you love or kind of we're not
Yeah.
just here to like shoot the breeze. We are here to work, it can be fun and there is a business reason for that as well.
Yeah. For anyone who's read the book or will read the book, yeah, I really struggle with making the business case for engagement because it feels like making the business case for human happiness, which is like, can't we just value human happiness unto itself? Or like the fact that we only make the case for rest in association with productivity, like, oh, rest is
Yeah.
good. Like, no, rest is just good because we're humans and we get
Yeah.
to rest part of life. Um, but anyway, I do sometimes like intercept myself in the book to say, and it would be awesome if a CEO or CHRO could like cite this book and read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is tons of research. Gallup is a great source of it. Has they consistently have shown employee engagement improves business outcomes, all sorts of things, productivity, random things like inventory control, retention and engagement, or retention is an obvious one. But also indices like having a best friend at work can improve business performance, which I like because having a friend at work, that's such a cozy human thing. And a leader might be like, well, who cares if they're friends or not? But
Yeah.
instinctually, I think we all feel like when I know in the roles where I've had a really good friend or a few really good friends, I'm excited to go to work to do the work, but also to be around them.
Yeah.
And I would say not even just because they're fun to hang around, but also, like, I find them inspiring. Like, I
Hmm.
actually it's not that I like hanging out with them when we're not working and, like, "Okay, let's finish our last and get back to work," but actually in working with people I find so creative and interesting and inspiring, that's fun too.
Yeah, of course. So can you tell us about in your experience then, what's some of the most what's your most fun you've had at work? And then maybe what's your least fun you've had at work? Because I feel like you can only write a book like this when you have experience of both sides.
Oh my god, for sure. Honestly, the first thing that came to mind, it's not a perfect example because it's an example of overworking, which I also write a lot about. But there was a time I was traveling with a team. We were in Seattle for a client, and we had gotten some bit of feedback on the work that day, and we had to turn it around for the next day. So the whole team were staying in this hotel. We're like, okay, we've got like 8 hours of work. We're going to have to do it at night. Again, not a perfect example because it's overworking, but we were like, okay, if we're going to have to work like into the wee hours in this hotel, we're going to make this fun. So we all came down in our bathrobes from the hotel. Like we had pajamas or clothes underneath. We're like, we're going to be comfortable. So we're all sitting around this hotel lobby in our bathrobes, playing music. We ordered food. Like we had such a grand time that night because we were so determined that even though we have to get this work done, even though it's not perfect working hours, we still want to find ways to make it fun. So if
Yeah.
that's the bathrobes and music and like ordering a ridiculously fancy dinner because it goes on the expense budget, then that's what we're going to do. And I just have such great memories from that night. Like we just laughed and like got to know each other really well. So that was a lot of fun. Honestly, the least fun, I remember there was one role where I felt like my manager really didn't believe in me I just felt very much like a stay in your box kind of role. Um, And I think, like, when you don't feel like you are at an organization that sees you or sees your
Mm.
potential, they don't have to say, like, "Oh, you're the perfect employee," but just, like, sees what you can contribute and how you can grow. To me, that's such a fun killer because I feel like I'm on my back foot, which is why I write a lot about start as leadership perspective, or even if you, like, work or are self-employed, like, how you manage yourself, starting with a place of generosity. I believe in you. Like, you are smart and capable, and we want you here. Like, starting there
Mhm.
to, like, prove to me what you can do. Show me what you can do, and then maybe after you do it for 6 months, we'll think about giving you a promotion.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we talk a lot in the club about like how would you talk to a friend, like if you're having a challenging time, or how would you talk to your child, or how would you talk to your dog even? Like probably not how you talk to yourself, right? Sometimes.
Oh,
So I really like that idea of that at work as well. It's like how would you talk to someone you really rated at work? So kind of giving that kind of same pep talk to yourself.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now that I'm doing book promotion, like, it's largely me, and sometimes I have to be
Mhm.
like, "You did your best.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did what you did today." Most things, most days. Um, yeah, you have to keep that up. It's easy to be critical.
Yeah, sure. I did an event yesterday and I did do it as a favor for my sister. So I feel like I'm going to go to heaven because it was a good thing to do, but it wasn't quite how I got it sold. It was a bit smaller. I think Eva, who came to the event, God bless her. So I got to meet some people. So that's awesome. But it wasn't quite what I imagined. And I was moaning a bit to my friend on the way home because it was like an 8 hour drive. And she said, well, at least you don't need to phone your boss and tell a boss that it didn't go so well because you are the boss. I was like, oh, yeah. He was like, you made the decision to go for the right reasons, it sounds like, and now it's a learning experience. And I was like, yeah, I quite like that. So it's like you can get pep talks from kind of your peers as well, I suppose. And then Brie, our signature question is, how's your relationship with yourself currently? So you are just off holiday and in book promo mode. So maybe this is a bit of a strange time for you, but how do you like relate to yourself at the moment?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'm just like, here's the live stream of what's going through my brain. I thought to myself, oh, it's actually really good. I feel really mentally strong and happy and healthy and grateful. And then I'm like, oh, that comes off as like super
Mm.
saccharine and braggy. Don't say that. You have to say something a little bit more balanced. But
No,
anyway,
say that here. This
it's
is a safe
all of
space for that.
yeah, to say, yeah, I mean, there's tons of things I think about or struggle with, like, where do exactly do I want my career to go from here and what are the next steps? But I think I've gotten good over time at reframing any of that as like anything that I feel anxious about. Well, it's kind of an adventure too. Like, like, I don't know if I would want to be able to predictably see my next 10 years. Like, I kind of like that I don't know where my career
Mm.
is going. Personally, my daughter's 10, which is a really fun age. She's cool to hang around. She sasses me for better, for worse.
Yeah.
Like, so my relationship, like, I think I've learned to, how do I even say it? Like, I don't know. I've learned to be a good friend to myself, I
Mm.
guess. Um, or learn to sort of like step out of myself and say, very mindfulness, like, Bree, you're having a rough day. It's okay. You're going to do better tomorrow. Um, Bree, you're feeling anxiety right now. This could be why, but it's okay. You know what to do. Like, go
Mm.
find some exercise and it'll be all right. And I've also learned, like, to how to bank the wins, like when something cool happens or like a fun opportunity like this, not to say like, "Oh, are you going to do a good job?" or like, "Oh, should you have 10 more like this?" Just to be like, "No, just be happy about it."
Yeah.
So I've gotten better at that too.
Yeah, I love that. I think reading the book as well, I really get the impression that you really live in alignment with your values. So based you talk about your parents and there's a lot of personal story in the book as well. And I think it comes across very strongly that gives you deep happiness as well and deep joy that you've made decisions based on your values. And I think that's really inspiring. I hope that people read it will take that away from it for sure. Um, before we go into the book then, and so into some of the rules, one of the questions that's been coming up is that about, is this a book for just for employees, as in I suppose corporate employees, or how about self-employed people who are freelance? I mean, I'm self-employed and I took a lot from it because I feel like it's about people and relationships, and we all have those. But I thought it'd be great to get your take on that and what you think.
Yeah. So I think for sure it can speak to anyone who works. There is a bit of a bias there towards knowledge workers because there's a chapter on creativity, which is if you stuff envelopes for a living, I guess is not as relevant. And there is like I've learned so much through my corporate experience. So there is some, I'd say especially like chapters 2 and 3, a little bit more around like established teams. Um, but I also think there's so much about just like our relationship with work. And I
Yeah.
think like people who freelance or self employed or have their own businesses, like those people above all have really thought about what they want their relationship with work to be because you're the one designing it. And so I hope, um, I would think of that cohort as people who have um, put in a lot of thought. And I hope that the book will speak to them in that way, especially the parts about overworking or what part of your life work holds. There's a lot about creativity, about sort of like emotional reliability, which I
Yeah.
know freelancing or running your own thing you can run hot and cold in a business. And then anybody who works like in partnership or freelancing for organizations, I think there's a ton there. It's still really relevant to the parts about companies.
Yeah, sure, 100%. And there's the two parts. So there's part one, which is maybe I would say is the meatier part. So that's 5 rules. So that's work should be the source of joy. But then part two is just it should be one source of joy of many in our lives. And so really the part two is like how to get good at life, right? And how to have fun in life. And so I think this group will really appreciate that as well. And I think you just touched on it then, the idea of the portfolio. Is it portfolio when you talk about like
Life, yeah,
it's
portfolio life, yeah.
yeah, so it's like which part, how much is work taking up, and what else? What are the other projects in life do you want to be working on right now? Something that related to so hard, and some people will let me know if you relate, guys, in the chat. Is the idea of like living for Friday and then just and giving everything to work and friends, family, fitness, any kind of mental health care, anything like that, just kind of got what was left over. And I lived like that. When I read that, I was like, I mean, I didn't ever think about it like that before, but I very much, I think, just that's what I just assumed everybody did, and I just thought that's what life was as a grown up. Like you just work, and if you want to do well, and if you want to have a good job and stuff, it's like that's what will happen. Work will take over your life, and then whatever's left, you kind of mete out as you can. And I still like I get the ick so bad when I think about how mean I was to my husband, like at the weekend after a week of working horrible hours, and then going out on Friday to kind of get to shake off the working of the horrible hours, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, "How are we still married, my darling? I'm so glad you're still here." Richard says he can
Uh,
relate. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, my husband too. I mean, we obviously my life now is much different with book promotion and everything, but for a really long time, we both worked full-time jobs, intense full-time jobs, had a young kid. I do sometimes wonder, like, it's a good thing we really liked each other in the beginning because
Yeah.
we were able to make it through those times when it's like, "Oh, yeah, we're not even, like, sitting down and chatting over dinner." Like, no, we're
No.
ordering takeout, watching Netflix in
Yeah.
bed 'cause we can't even bring ourselves to go to the table.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, I think to start to reverse some of that, in the book, I talk about get there first, like, get on your calendar first. Put your date
Yeah.
nights, exercise, your doctor's appointments, your yoga classes, crochet classes, whatever. Like, if you can get there first, because our default, as you say, is you let work take up your whole calendar, and then you're like, "Oh, maybe I could sneak in 30 minutes of exercise here."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but really, sometimes it just comes down to the order. Like, it's much easier to say, "Oh, I can't make that meeting. I have a family commitment." Sounds like a
Mhm.
say it's much different than saying like, "Oh, I can't come to that meeting after all because I wanna go to bed early." You know?
Yeah, sure, and if the commitment's already in there, it is a commitment. So
Right.
working around that is that's definitely something from reading self-help and kind of working on prioritizing time and things like that. Emily's just said as well, talks about burnout, and quite often how we let it. That happened to me. So you kind of get ill before you listen to your body and realize that if you don't look after it and look after yourself, and you talk about this in the book as well, especially if you're a knowledge worker, which lots of us are, your brain is your that's what your instrument, that's what
Yeah.
your this you need to kind of keep look after it, and we kind of like fill it with, I mean, Diet Coke. I do have a Diet Coke habit, but we like fill it with crap sometimes and don't look after. And if we don't look after it, what do we expect to happen?
Yeah, right? Like, I refer to the concept of brain athletes, and
Yeah.
so it's so funny to me how, if you're a concert violinist, you have your violin cared for by the artisans, or if you're an athlete, like, if you're on a professional team, you've got, like, a whole team of physicians and nutritionists and trainers. But for the brain athlete, right, like the knowledge worker, we totally ignore everything that all the advice about how to make our brain work well, which is like at good sleep, good nutrition, good mental
Mhm.
health, um, exercise, move, all of these things. And and sometimes it feels like, oh, I have no choice. I just have to sit for 9 hours a day, skip lunch, have a drink afterward,
Yeah, sure. But the choice, that's a great word, because there is choice. I know sometimes we don't feel like it, but and we'll touch on that a little bit more in a bit. But I also really like what Richard said about, he said he's in it at the moment for this season. And I feel like that's like something to touch on as well. The idea that sometimes work isn't fun. And you do talk about that. It's like, or sometimes work is full on and it will take up a lot more of your time, energy, bandwidth. But if that's unusual, or if that's not the regular, then that is what happens sometimes, and we have to meet that deadline, or we have to go that extra, like stay up in the bathrobes and kind of meet that target. But I suppose it's so long as that's not, you're not living in that crisis mode all the time.
Exactly. It's the difference between, like, if in the body, like acute inflammation versus chronic inflammation, right? Like, if you cut yourself, you have inflammation go to the point of the cut to try and heal it. And so if
Mhm.
likewise, if we have a deadline, or even just not even if it's like several months of work that are like crazy, you have that sort of acute inflammation where you're sending all of your resources to survive that time. And sometimes that time is actually kind of fun. Like, sometimes
Yeah.
overworking can, not that you want to make this the state forever, but there are reasons why overwork is attractive, because and then you can leverage those within the time that is this acute inflammation period. Like overworking can sometimes be invigorating. It can be
Hmm.
addictive. You feel powerful, you feel productive, like you're really making things or move. The trick, though, as you say, is to not make that into chronic inflammation, which is like, if that's happening in your body, now, you're kicking off all sorts of other problems in your joints and digestive system. So that's what you want to avoid in work as well. This notion of like, oh, I work 60 hours a week from now until retirement. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we want to avoid.
Sure. So I did a poll, Bree, in when we announced the book, saying how much fun are you having at work, and I think I did four choices, and it was all the fun, quite a lot of fun sometimes, and then are you joking? And I think it was like half and half between are you joking and quite a lot of fun. So it was like a kind of quite a broad spectrum, I suppose. But what advice should we have for people who are like literally like, why am I even watching a chat about fun at work? Because they just can't imagine it would ever happen. Do you have any advice for those people to start with?
Yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need a job and you need to keep the job. Unemployment is not more fun.
Yeah.
Uh, if that's the case, you're like, I just need to be in this for a while. I'm not having fun. What are some things that I can do to mitigate the damage? Um, One example I always go to is the show The Office. I watched the American version, but it's this idea that even if you're in paper sales and the work is mind numbing, or if it's super stressful, you can always find ways to make fun for yourself or with the people around you. Um, even if it's like silly, or, putting the stapler in the jello, like there's always some ways to do that. So
Mhm.
I have like a container of umbrella like picks that you can
Yeah.
put in. Like sometimes on a bad day, I'll just pull one out and I'd be like, "This is my fun for today." Um,
Yeah.
the one way is like a little bit of daily acts of micro mischief. What can you do that just feels like a little bit wrong? I don't put all of your work in Comic Sans for the day and see who you can make like twitch. Another way is just an active micro connection. Everything in life is made better with friends, including shitty work.
Yeah.
So if there's, if you're like really in it, it's stressful, you don't like your work, you're not having any fun, just find another person who's not having any fun and then wink at them once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, uh, that's another great antidote. And then the third thing I would say is usually work is not categorically unfun. Maybe most of it is unfun, but you can find one aspect that you sort of like. So, for example, maybe the work itself you don't like, but you do like the people, or you don't like the people, but maybe you get to mentor somebody and that gives you some joy. Maybe it's not that, but I don't know, maybe you are in a corporate environment and they've got like a swing coffee machine. Maybe you're working on your own and it's super stressful, but you can take a nap at 2 p.m. any day you want to. And so, like, go take a nap. Um, or even like if you're in spreadsheets all day long, color code your spreadsheets according to like, I don't know, favorite album artist. Like it could be anything, but there's usually some way. I would call this a micro joy as compared to
Yeah.
a micro shift. And if you can start small, then you sometimes that'll just get you through the weeks or the months so you can find a better setup.
Yeah. And there's and early on in the book you talk about, is your job funnable? Like, is it even funnable? And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's not. And either you kind of, I suppose, you then either accept that and it's a job and you make the rest of your life fun, 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 or or reading this book, it's, and this is what happens a lot in the club. It's like it's about shining a light on where
Yeah.
you're not happy, or where you're not looking after yourself, and then you offer like options on what to do.
Yeah. And if you're like, oh, I really am, my job is not funnable. Like I'm in a toxic work environment. It's not a good match for my skills. The
Mhm.
stage of life I'm in doesn't match the work. Then the first thing to do is, well, one, don't beat yourself up about it. Like that's awesome that you're still in it and earning money and doing what you have to do, despite those things. And then you just slowly start to like divest a little bit of attention from work, percentage by percentage, to what else could be out there. Whether that's applying for jobs, which I know is stressful and a job unto itself, finding other sources of joy, or just like slowly telling people. Sometimes I think talking about, oh, I'm sort of looking for something else. What else do you think I might do?
Mhm.
Sometimes being vocal and verbal about those things, like I don't love this setup, can really help. It just sort of increases. I've heard the term your Lux surface area. Like the more
Yeah.
that you talk about what you're actually looking for, then sometimes those things can come your way.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for micro mischiefs in the chat. Gabrielle has written a book actually called The 1% Wellness Experiment. Is it what experiment, Gabs? Let me know. And that's all about kind of small things. So like the micro mischiefs, the micro joy. Eva wants to get an office job just so she can cause mischief. I love that. Brilliant. And also, you're definitely talking to the right crowd when you're talking about color coding your spreadsheets and using post-its, right, and stuff. Should we just talk about the cover? Actually, I didn't actually talk to you about this, but I wanted to start off by talking about this. Let's talk about this and the mic and the joy that comes from this, because this brings me joy every time I look at it. So I feel like that's like a micro joy, isn't it?
I Okay, yes. Having a book cover you love is definitely a micro joy. I'm so glad you love it. The secret I'll share is like it's a really controversial cover. Like I got lots of advice from lots of places that said this looks unprofessional. This will not sell. Everyone's going to think it's a children's book. We, highly suggest that you not go with it. I will say the cover is done by Rodrigo Corral, who's a legendary cover designer. He did the covers of 4,000 Weeks, Outlive,
Oh,
Greek
cool.
Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, um, Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. So, like, he's really
Wow.
I trusted him explicitly, and when he shared the options and this was one of them, I immediately was like, "Yes." Like, to me, I love that it's irreverent. I love that it does not conform to what we think of as a business book would look like with like a post-it or a light bulb. Um, and I love the power in it, like how the smiley is centered and its joy is so powerful. It's like pushing the work in
Yeah.
some way. And it's like sun-like, to me, it
Yeah.
spoke to how we can center our own pleasure and joy at work and what a powerful thing that is when we do.
Yeah, brilliant. There's a lot of love for this cover in this book, in this group as well. So we're happy that you dug your heels in on that one. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. And you like you say, it's like it's not your average business book. It's not a business book, really. It's a book about life. And like you said, when you talked about making a business case for things, it's hard to make a business case for just being more human and just being and just enjoying your life, isn't it? But I think it's so good to remind ourselves we have to prioritize things, and we talk a lot in the club about our time, money and energy run out, so we need to make sure that we allocate them accordingly to things that are important to us and that will make us feel good.
Yeah, and you're right, they do run out. Like, I wanted to make the existential case for engagement as opposed to the business case or um, because we only get so many Mondays,
Yeah.
that's the truth of it. And I don't want to throw mine away. I don't think anybody should.
Yeah.
So do.
Yeah, and that idea of living for Friday, it's so sad, really, isn't it, that you're wishing away 5/7 of your week.
You know what? So this morning I went to physical therapy because I have frozen shoulder. Welcome to
Yeah.
my 40s.
Yeah,
Anyway,
for that.
okay, I'm the
Mine's
only one.
defrosting now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it happens.
That's so funny. Um, yeah, I also 40-year-old shoulder. I learned is the other name for it. I was like, oh, what fun. Anyway, I heard one of the therapists there this morning say like, "Oh, happy Monday. At least it's almost Friday." And I
Yeah.
was like, it made me chuckle. Because it's such a common sentiment, right? We almost say it as like chit chat or banter. Oh, it's only Wednesday, or like, oh, TGIF. And um, I'm of the belief that we should say happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday. It's like if you're alive and it's a day, it's a happy day. And then
Yeah.
we're celebrating.
Yeah. And like we said, you don't expect every day to be the happiest day of your life, but it's a lot of it is about a choice, isn't it? That you're choosing to find those micro joys or choosing to take those actions that will make it a happier day. So, yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. Let's get into the book. It's 7:40 already. I mean, we have talked about various bits of it, but let's talk about. So there's 7 rules, and we don't need to share all of them. But is there any that you particularly like to talk about tonight? Do you think with this group, or based on what we've touched on already?
Oh, um, gosh.
Or
Maybe
any that resonated most with people who are reading the book already? What kind of feedback are you getting?
yeah. We talked a little bit about cozy teams. I've heard great feedback about that notion. I call them cozy teams because that's what I feel like when I'm in one. It actually feels like, whatever blizzard's happening outside in the organization or the market, like we can be cozy ourselves. Um, I also like it too because it's it's something that you can enact locally. So even if are a freelancer, run your own thing, any of the partners that you work with, like you can create that sort of microclimate or even within an organization, within your local team, wherever you sit in the company, you can create a microclimate of sunshine, even if everything's
Yeah.
wrong. I particularly like the last chapter as well. Get good at life, not just work.
Yeah.
To me, that felt like the right punctuation and the right reframe to end the book because I know growing up, I had internalized this like get to the top of the class, like GPA, get into a good school. Like I'm always trying to, and also being like an elder millennial, like optimize something. And so often my optimization energy goes into work.
Yeah.
But it's only like in the last several years that I started to put some of that A student energy into my life of like,
Yeah.
what is it like? And not just like, oh, to get a really high sleep score, although that's good too. But also, like, what does it look like to be serious about leisure and pleasure?
Hmm.
Uh, what does it look like to be someone who's like really good at enjoying prosciutto, you know? um, and so that chapter is, yeah, it's really about like, what is it all for? What are we pursuing? What's peak life to us?
Yeah.
Uh, such that we are earning a paycheck at work. It is sustaining our livelihoods. And where we do have more choice in how we spend our time, are we even spending that time well? Because I know for many years, um, as we were talking about, like, I'm working so hard that the only thing I'm optimizing is like time spent Netflix. I'm
Yeah.
like, that what it's for? So
Yeah.
I will take away, I don't know, a sense of energy around being an artist of their life, designing the things that make them happy.
Yeah, sure. I love that peak life, like, because it's like, what does that look like? Like when and also, I suppose, when it's happening, when if we manage to get to that state, what on holiday or at the weekend or with our like dog or whatever it is, it's like it's noticing that, isn't it? And being like, this is peak life. This is what I work for.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, last night I cooked some soup. This is gonna be cringy story, but I'm telling anyway.
We're
I
here for it. Don't worry.
I was cooking, like, I think being a little curmudgeonly, but, like, sometimes these stories come out. Anyway, yeah, I was cooking soup, and I had some jazz music on, and I sent Brad, my husband, out to get some port because I really like a small glass of port while I cook. And then, like, he came in, and then we were, like, dancing in the kitchen like we were in some sort of, like, stupid rom-com,
Oh,
and I was like, "This is peak life." It was just really nice. Yeah. Most of the time, yeah, like, we're bickering about who's gonna pick up Arden from martial arts practice, so,
yeah.
once in a while, that can be really nice. But as you say, it's like, it's nice to be able to notice those things, because so often I think we just let those nice moments pass us by, and you're like, "Yeah, that was nice," but to really, like, suck all the joy out of it,
Yeah.
that's important, and we often don't give ourselves the time for that.
Yeah, sure, 100%. So, who would you say this book is for then? Is it for someone who's currently not having fun at work and needs to learn how to do it? Or is it for, I mean, I think it's for anybody because anybody who works basically, or even who has worked and is still in relationships with people with jobs.
Yeah, I would say it's for anyone who feels deep down that it's possible to have fun at work. I know there's a cohort of people who only wanna read about the business case. This book is not for them.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's for anyone who feels like, "I know it's possible because 'cause I've had good days at work, because and I feel like I could have them again, or I am having fun, but I think I could be getting more life out of my days."
Yeah.
Um, it's for a lot of it is for managers, whether you manage yourself, that counts, or a team. A lot of exercises in there. But also it's also for like younger people as well, Gen Z, sort of like coming up into the workforce and deciding what relationship do you want to have with work. That said, I've heard from like elder Gen Xers that it's also resonated with, people
Mm,
who've been through the paying their dues part of work and feel like, nah, enough of that. I'm ready to have fun already.
yeah.
So it's for lots of folks.
I feel like there's quite a few of the latter in this group. A lot of us who kind of, I think people in the chat were like, "Yeah, we remember that time," and lots of people actually in self help have chosen a different way or are on their way to choosing a different way, and that's why we read books like this. But yeah, I feel very much it's for anyone who's intentional about how they spend their time or who wants to get more intentional about how they spend their time. Okay, then, Brie, before we say goodbye to you tonight, I'd love to do another exercise from the book, which is you call a pre-mortem, and you do this is an exercise that you would do with teams. Looking to work on a project. But I feel like we're a team. the community, and our project is to read and to finish and to do the work of the book, because that's the thing about self-help books, isn't it? And that's why we read one every 2 months, because it's like we need the time to do the reading, but then also the kind of the percolating and the actual exercises and the work. So I thought maybe you could talk us through a pre-mortem. It'd be great for any managers on here as well, but also like, and how we can use that as a team today.
Sure. So this is one of my favorite exercises. I do it kicking off any new project or team, or in an organization. You could do it, say, like once a year, once a quarter. Anyway, we'll do it now together, and it looks like this. You want to imagine yourself at the point, at the end of the project, in this case, at the end of these 2 months, and you have failed miserably. So it's a little bit of a downer of an exercise. You have to like stick with it. Okay. So it is now, I guess, yeah, what would it be? The end of the 2 months. You just got an email from Tony saying, hope you all wrapped up your reading and got so much out of it. And you think to yourself, I've read 4 pages. I didn't
Mm-mm.
work. Why didn't I prioritize myself and my learning? What did I miss out on? I hate that I'm now the kind of person who doesn't finish these books. So put yourself in this super bummer of a space. Okay, maybe you're sitting with a cup of tea or coffee or whatever you like, and you're staring at it thinking, why didn't I do better? Okay, now what I want you to think about is, what got in the way? What didn't go right? And we do this specifically. This is called prospective hindsight. Put yourself in the future space to look back, which research has shown makes you more accurate at predicting what goes wrong. So that's why we do it this way.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're looking at your tea, feeling forlorn, thinking, why didn't I read more than 4 pages or do any of the exercises? So I want you to put this in chat. I'll start rattling some off. You can steal mine or come up with your own. It could be, um, you never managed to buy the book in the first place, which, by the way, if anybody is having trouble with
We can
delivery,
talk about that.
so sorry. Macmillan is fixing it. Maybe it's uh, maybe you have kids and the school schedule just sort of got in the way and you never got to read it, or um, maybe you are reading 5 books at once, but you don't really read well that way, and so this was just one of them. Maybe you decided, maybe you were tired all month, and so you just watched reality TV every night, which I'm a fan of, but also you did that every night instead of reading. Or
Yeah.
maybe you eat best in the morning. I'm just sort of blabbering on it, so you can all write them in the chat.
Yeah, I thought Eva said I got distracted. So yeah, I think for from what I know from like personal experience, but also from running the group, is that it's time is
Yeah.
definitely time is the biggie. Um, I was working late, says Richard. Yeah, having fun though? I don't know. Maybe that's okay. Time, but and also I think with self-help, something that gets in the way is that it's hard. Like it's not sometimes an easy read. And I felt this is actually quite a joyous read. And I gave everyone quite a hard one over summer. So this is like a kind of payback in a good way. But I feel like yeah, the kind of idea that when things start getting hard and confronting a little bit, or like highlighting the fact that you don't have any fun at work and what you're going to do about it. Sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, I don't want to read that. I'm going to back off. So that's definitely a one. And then someone's just said, I grabbed my phone first thing in the morning instead of my book.
Mm,
Yes, 100% relates.
so easy to do. So if you're still writing, keep writing. If you have yours out there, the next step of the exercise is to think about, okay, now we know what may happen. What can you do now? What can you put in place now
Yeah.
to prevent that from happening? So, um, maybe the person who said, "Oh, I look at my phone before I look at the book." Well, maybe you put your phone, plug it in across the room, and put the book next to your nightstand. That would be one idea. You can type
Yeah.
these in the too. If you do better reading, um, you know, before bed, then maybe what you're going to do is you're going to place the book on your pillow as a visual reminder. Um,
Mm.
if you have no time, maybe you're going to set an alarm at 6 p.m. to leave work. every day? If I don't know, these ideas off the top of my head here. What are the things, or you come across a part and you're like, I don't know if I want to go into that part of my soul right now.
Yeah.
Maybe your technique will be like grab a little like one of these flags, put it there. If you're not in the space to go in there, maybe you just tag it and keep moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Come back when you feel like you've got a little bit of emotional space. I
Oh,
will so oh, go ahead.
no, I love that. And I love and we love a sticky and a post-it. Tiny
Nice.
habit. Yeah. Yes, Richard.
Also, I'll say the book is like they're like little vignettes. They're like
Yeah.
I wrote them the way what I call them in my head were thought chocolates, as if you would like pick up a chocolate and be like, "Oh, that's tasty," and you enjoy that, and sort of you never know what you're gonna get. So it's like really short. So even maybe you just set yourself a goal of like, I'm gonna read like 3 little blurbs a day.
Yeah.
You know, here's one, here's one. They're just different ideas.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
yeah, Richard designed a tiny habit.
I think, and that's what we talked about before, isn't it? It's about kind of putting those things in your diary and your schedule ahead. So if you are, looking at your time, and if it is something you want to do, Eva, I think said we make time for those things. We really do. So in fact, when you kind of find yourself scrolling, promise you'll read a page instead, or something like that, or on your commute, or maybe this is a time to kind of listen to on Audible or on audio, or read on Kindle, because then it can just always be in your bag. So, but I feel like this is a nice cover to remind you to read me, basically saying, read me, isn't it? Read me, love me.
Oh my god, it's like staring you into your
Literally. It's like, I see you. Make a rule, not allowed to get back into bed once the alarm goes off, and you get out of it. Yes, definitely. We all should be doing that. Love it. Okay. It's almost 5 to 8. So any final questions, please let us know in the chat, everybody. Bree, anything else I've got to ask you? Um, any favourite tools for staying healthy and happy as well as reading? Or any books that you would recommend to us at the moment? That's 2 questions. You can answer either.
yeah. I'll start with Arden, you wanna come over? Here's one of my
Yes.
favorite this is my dog Arden. Hi.
Hi,
Uh,
guest appearance.
she is one of my favorite tools for staying healthy and happy. Um, I think, like, going through like, I write a lot in the book about how when my mom was sick with cancer and then passed when grandma died, like, it really inspired me, like, I want to be the healthiest version of myself for myself, but also for my family too, right? And I always try and cook us healthy stuff. Yeah. So she's one of my tools for staying healthy. Okay, that's it.
Arden, are you proud of your mum for
Yeah.
writing this book?
Actually, that has coffee in it.
Not right now, I'm not.
Okay. But other books I love, I guess two. In the self-help genre, The Happiness Trap meant a lot to me.
Uh-huh.
If anyone out there has read it, I read it when I was caring for my mom, and it just helped like sturdy me in a really great way. I also read a lot of Stoicism as well. During that time, Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way, meant a lot. Just this feeling of like when life hits you with an asteroid, you're just like, all right, now I'm just going to pick up this asteroid, and now me and this asteroid are carrying on together.
Mm.
And then like for fun, for pleasure, because that's important too. I read a lot of Agatha Christie mysteries because they're just so fun and cozy, and they make me happy. And I value that.
Yeah. I love the
Sometimes,
fact I love the
yeah.
fact the word cozy has been used so much about in a chat about a business-ish book. I think that's people will also relate to that. I think someone said earlier in the chat, put cozy in front of anything and we are in, 100% in.
It's like the season of cozy, right?
It
Like,
really is, actually. Yeah, definitely. I feel that, definitely. Okay, Brie, thank you so much, my love. We love this book. We love the cover. That it was lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for all your support, and everybody. We're going to be reading this over September and October and working through it as a team. So our read along starts on Monday the 15th. So you've got until then to join our cozy read along team, and we'll be sharing the replay. Laura's just joined and asked about self-employed, yes, we've answered that, Laura. You'll see that in the replay when I share that. Any more questions, then send them on to me and I can share them with Bree. But thank you so much. Thanks, Bree. Thank you for being here. And thank you, guys, for all your inputs. Awesome to see everybody. And enjoy. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.